Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. OpenAI Agents SDK, Episode 5 of 18. Sometimes the best way for a manager to handle a complex task is to completely step out of the way. If your main routing agent tries to mediate every interaction between a user and your backend systems, your prompts get bloated and your execution gets unreliable. This is exactly what decentralized delegation, specifically the handoff pattern, is designed to fix. A handoff is a mechanism where one agent transfers full control of the conversation to another agent. A common mistake is confusing a handoff with standard tool calling. They are fundamentally different. When an agent calls a normal function, it pauses, waits for the data to return, and then formulates a response for the user. When an agent triggers a handoff, it yields the entire conversation turn. Control passes completely to the new agent. The original agent steps out of the way entirely. This matters because it keeps your architecture decentralized. If a central triage agent has to process the output of every specialist action, its system prompt must be enormous. It needs instructions on how to frame refund policies, technical troubleshooting, and account deletion. Worse, the triage agent will inevitably try to narrate the specialist's work back to the user. This wastes tokens, adds latency, and introduces a high risk of hallucination. Handoffs prevent this by letting the specialist talk directly to the user. Consider a customer support system. You deploy a general triage agent to greet users and categorize requests. A customer writes in asking to process a refund. You also have a dedicated refund agent, which is equipped with specific billing tools and strict instructions on the company return policy. To connect them using the SDK, you write a standard function called transfer to refund. But instead of returning a string or JSON data, this function returns your refund agent object. You then hand this transfer function to your triage agent, listing it just like any other tool. When the customer asks for a refund, the triage agent decides to call the transfer function. Here is the key insight. The underlying SDK runner loop executes the function and sees that an agent object was returned instead of standard data. The runner instantly swaps the active agent in its memory. It takes the existing conversation history and feeds it directly into the newly activated refund agent. The refund agent takes over the active turn, processes the user request, triggers its own billing tools, and replies directly to the user. You can also pass data during this transition. If the triage agent already asked the user for their order number, it can pass that order number as an argument into the transfer function. The function can then inject that order number into the new agent's context variables before returning it. The refund agent wakes up already knowing exactly which transaction to look up. By using handoffs, you keep each agent small, focused, and predictable, letting the conversation flow naturally from one narrow expert to the next. That is all for this one. Thanks for listening and keep building.